moving beyond iron and copper and lead zinc, current developments in technology, particularly in green technology, require us to think a little bit more about what's known as critical metals, rare earth elements, for example. And I wondered, the EU, of course, is very much after finding those within the EU territory. What do you think is Sweden's potential to help with delivering critical metals or rare earth elements to the market in the European Union in the coming decades?
Sweden and Finland can, opposed to most European countries, offer a diverse portfolio of ores, all because of the geological setting of Scandinavia. And Sweden has recently discovered large REE deposits, that's rare earth elements. We also have graphite, vanadine, cobalt, and other critical raw materials needed for a green transition. Significant deposits of these elements are quite scarce in the European Union. And if you think about the need for these minerals, it's you compare green energy, think about a wind turbine, it will generate the green energy. It needs raw materials such as steel, copper, aluminum for the tower, the electrical wiring, limestone and rock aggregate for concrete groundwork, of course. That's what you think of first. But for these windmills, you need some 350 kilos of neodymium and other REE metals. And in addition to all other generators from geothermal and water power energy plants, as well as electrical motors, all what we need for the for this green transition and change to electrical power and electrical power generation. We need these REEs. Without them, we just can't do it. And this amounts to very high demand of these critical elements, inevitable for electrification and the green transition. And most of you will have heard about the Northvolt startup in Skellefteå in North Sweden. Aim is to produce batteries that, and this will demand a large quantities from a row of critical metals and critical raw materials also. These batteries you'll need for all the electrical cars and whatever machinery you need to move on electrical power. And why Skellefteå? Why, or even why Sweden in the first place? Partly because we do have suitable mineral deposits in the north of Sweden. Among others, cobalt and graphite. You need that for battery production. And a factory location near these deposits will decrease emissions and carbon footprint from transports of these metals and ores. And I mentioned Congo earlier. It's about 60% of the world production is coming from Congo at the moment, and you need that for metal alloys, batteries, many other things. One thing is that in the vitamin B12 you do have cobalt in the vitamin. It's part of the structure. And
I have no idea. Okay.
And the question is, do we want that raw materials, the raw materials that we need, do we want them to be produced in this way, from Congo, imported from somewhere? Sweden has the deposits that definitely could be mined in a much more societally and environmentally sustainable way. And there is, for example, one of the big findings that is also a big discussion at the moment is the Norra Kärr deposit near Lake Vättern. And that is also, it's perhaps the biggest REE deposit in Europe. But of course, it is a discussion of pro and contra. And there is at the moment a process of a permitting process, and the outcome is not, or it is very unsure at the moment.
I see, yeah. This is very interesting, and what you mentioned about battery production in Skellefteå, this is, I'm quite fascinated by this because I've visited Chile about 2 years ago, and I was impressed by these enormous salars, these salt lakes, and of course there's great hopes there that a large amount of the lithium required for battery technology will come from there. But just thinking of the fuel costs to deliver the lithium from the high Andes all over the world to production sites in Asia, like China and Japan, to Europe, whoa, it will almost offset the advantages we're gaining from producing the batteries in terms of carbon footprint. And this is very worrying. So I think finding some possibilities to mine this in Scandinavia would be quite important. And now I hear that there's plans to mine pegmatite deposits in Finland and potentially also in Sweden to deliver lithium there. So if lithium and cobalt could be sourced locally, then of course the fuel costs would be dramatically lower, not to mention the conditions that would hopefully be also very good in Europe, as opposed to certainly some African countries. And no, I think this is very interesting. So I sense that you are quite hopeful about Sweden making a contribution towards the change towards green technology in the future.
I think Sweden does have a significant role to play, firstly because of the resources available, especially in the context of supplying the European market at first. Secondly, because Sweden is a well-known mining nation. We have a mining history. We have well-known big mining companies, and also an industry cluster behind it. So there is a high the development of mining technology and high-tech equipment is very active in Sweden. So from various reasons, I think Sweden has a role and responsibility also to shoulder this role.
That is very well put. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think Sweden has a responsibility to make a contribution there. It's not just about that it has the possibility, but it has actually a responsibility, because anything else would be a little irresponsible, sourcing it from far away at potentially high transport costs and uncertain production conditions.